Hello students, in last class we have discussed about the extraction of iron from hematite using blast furnace. We have discussed about various zones in the extraction of iron using blast furnace, such as zone of combustion, zone of reduction, zone of slag formation and zone of fusions. All these reactions are very important for your exam purpose. So these are the reactions we have discussed. And finally, we have discussed about the extraction of wrought iron or the malleable iron, which is known as the purest form of commercially available iron. So this is the picture of the blast furnace which is used in industries. In today's class, let us discuss about the extraction of copper as well as the extraction of zinc. So first let us discuss about the extraction of copper. So already we have discussed about the Ellingham diagram for the reduction of cuprous oxide into copper, and we have found that as the slope for the copper to cuprous oxide lies almost at the top, it is very easy to reduce the cuprous oxide into copper by heating it with coke at a temperature of about 500 to 600 Kelvin range. But in industries, generally the copper is extracted from the ore copper pyrites. So let us see various steps involved in the extraction of copper from copper pyrite ore. Copper pyrite ore is written as CuFeS2. So first step in the extraction is ore concentration. Here the ore is sulfide form of ore. As a result of that, it is concentrated by a process called as froth flotation process. We have already discussed about the froth flotation process, and you know that the basic principle here is that the ore particles are preferentially wetted by oil, whereas the gangue impurities are preferentially wetted by water. Here the finely powdered ore is mixed with water and it is taken in a tank known as flotation tank. To that, collectors and froth stabilizers are added. The function of collector is to increase the non-wettability of the ore particles by oil, and the function of froth stabilizer is to stabilize the froth which is formed in the reaction. And then there is a rotating paddle which continuously rotates the mixture and draws air inside it, during which process a froth is formed. Generally, to the froth, the mineral particles will be attached. As a result of that, the froth raises upwards and it can be separated. It can be collected in a separate container, then it can be dried to remove the ore particles. Here the gangue impurities are heavier and they will be wetted by water. As a result of that, they will settle at the bottom of the flotation tank and they can be separated. So this is the basic principle of froth flotation process, from which the ore is concentrated. After the ore concentration, the next step is the conversion of the concentrated ore into its oxide form. Here again, since the ore is a sulfide ore, we prefer roasting for the conversion of the concentrated ore into its oxide form. What is roasting? It is a process in which the ore is heated to high temperature below the melting point of the metal in the presence of excess of oxygen. So concentrated ore is roasted in a furnace known as reverberatory furnace, during which various changes take place, such as moisture will be removed and all the volatile impurities will be escaped in the form of their oxide forms. Then the main changes taking place here is the sulfide form of ore is converted into its oxide form. The main change is the sulfide form of ore is converted into its oxide form. Here the ore is copper pyrite CuFeS2 that converts into Cu2S and FeS and sulfur dioxide gas. So CuFeS2 reacts with oxygen and it is converted into cuprous sulfide Cu2S, then ferrous sulfide FeS and sulfur dioxide gas is released. Next step, the cuprous sulfide and ferrous sulfide undergo partial oxidation. They will not be completely oxidized, they will undergo partial oxidation. As a result of that, few amount of ferrous sulfide reacts with oxygen and it will form ferrous oxide and sulfur dioxide. I repeat, ferrous sulfide undergoes partial oxidation and it will be converted into ferrous oxide and sulfur dioxide gas. This is a balanced equation. 2FeS plus 3O2 gives 2FeO plus 2SO2. Similarly, cuprous sulfide also undergoes partial oxidation and we will get cuprous oxide and sulfur dioxide gas. Cuprous sulfide is Cu2S that reacts with oxygen and we will get cuprous oxide, that is Cu2O, and sulfur dioxide gas is released. So this is a balanced equation. 2Cu2S plus 3O2 gives 2Cu2O plus 2SO2. So this is the roasting process. Here the main change is that sulfide form of ore is partially converted into its oxide form. So after roasting, we will be having a little amount of ferrous sulfide and ferrous oxide. We also have cuprous sulfide and little amount of cuprous oxide. So next step is the reduction of the ore into its metal form. Reduction of the ore into its metal form, it involves two steps. First step is formation of copper matte. First step is formation of copper matte. Second step is formation of blister copper from copper matte, which is also known as Bessemerization reaction. So first step is formation of copper matte from the roasted ore. So let us discuss about that step now. Here the roasted ore is mixed with sand, which acts as a flux, and a reducing agent used here is coke, and that is heated in a blast furnace in the presence of excess of oxygen. Students, here the flux taken is sand. Sand is used as a acidic flux here because the impurities or gangue particles are slightly basic in nature. Here ferrous oxide acts as the basic gangue. So in order to remove the basic ferrous oxide, the flux used is the acidic flux sand or silica. Along with that, the reducing agent used is coke, about which we have already seen in the Elingham diagram. Okay. Coke is used as a reducing agent, and this mixture, which is also known as charge, is introduced inside the blast furnace. Blast furnace is a tall cylindrical shaped furnace which is made up of steel and lined inside with a special kind of brick known as fire brick, which is used for the heating purpose. And hot air is introduced inside the blast furnace through a pipe known as tiers from the bottom. And when this mixer is passed and when hot air is passed inside the blast furnace, various chemical changes take place inside the blast furnace. You should remember that iron is more reactive than copper, hence ferrous sulfide is preferentially converted into ferrous oxide. First step, ferrous sulfide is preferentially converted into ferrous oxide and we will get ferrous oxide plus sulfur dioxide. This is the first reaction. Ferrous sulfide combines with oxygen to form ferrous oxide and sulfur dioxide gas is released. This ferrous sulfide is here oxidized to ferrous oxide. Next step, the ferrous oxide combines with the silica or sand, which acts as the acidic flux. Ferrous oxide is the basic gangue impurity that combines with the acidic flux silica to form ferrous silicate slag. Here the slag form this ferrous silicate, and this is in the molten state and it is lighter. As a result of that, it will form a separate layer in the blast furnace. So first reaction is ferrous sulfide is preferentially oxidized into ferrous oxide because iron is more reactive than copper. Okay. Along with that, ferrous oxide combines with the silica, which is added as the flux here, and we will get ferrous silicate slag, and it is in the molten state. It is lighter and it forms a separate layer at the top region. Some other reactions also take place inside the blast furnace. That is, first reaction, if at all little amount of the cuprous sulfide is also oxidized into cuprous oxide and sulfur dioxide, this cuprous oxide formed combines with the ferrous sulfide and it is converted back into cuprous sulfide and ferrous oxide. So there is a possibility that cuprous oxide, little amount of the cuprous oxide can oxidize into cuprous oxide and it can form sulfur dioxide. This cuprous oxide formed reacts with the ferrous sulfide and it is converted into cuprous sulfide and ferrous oxide. So in the blast furnace there will be two layers. Top layer is the layer of the molten slag, and at the bottom there is another layer known as copper matte layer. This copper matte layer is containing the mixture of cuprous sulfide. This is formed here. If at all cuprous oxide is there, it will combine with the ferrous sulfide and we will get the cuprous sulfide. So copper matte mostly consists of the cuprous sulfide along with little amount of ferrous sulfide which may be remaining in the reaction. So this question is very, very important for 1 mark. What is copper matte, or write the composition of copper matte can be asked in your exam. Copper matte consists of mixture of cuprous sulfide and traces of ferrous sulfide, and that is collected below the layer of slag, and both these layers are separately tapped out using two different tapping holes of the blast furnace. So this is the first step in the reduction, formation of copper matte from the roasted ore. Next step here is Bessemerization, which is taking place in another converter known as Bessemer converter. So Bessemerization is again important for your exam purpose. The questions can be asked for 2 to 3 marks. Explain the preparation of blister copper from copper matte. Like that the questions can be asked in your exams. Here the copper matte, which is a mixture of cuprous sulfide and little amount of ferrous sulfide, is introduced inside the silica lined Bessemer converter. The mixture of copper matte is introduced into the silica lined Bessemer converter. So Bessemer converter is a pear shaped steel tank. Inside this pear shaped steel tank, which is lined inside with silica, the copper matte is introduced. Then the various reactions taking place here is some amount of silica is also added, which acts as the flux, just like the previous reaction. Here also little amount of silica is added, and again the hot air blast is introduced using the pipes known as tires. Here also the hot air blast is introduced using the pipes known as tires inside the Bessemer converter. Then inside the Bessemer converter, if at all some ferrous sulfide, ferrous oxide is remaining, that will be converted into ferrous silicate slag, and cuprous sulfide and cuprous oxide is converted into metallic copper. So two important reactions take place here. First reaction is traces of ferrous sulfide impurities will be first oxidized into ferrous oxide. Ferrous sulfide combines with the oxygen which is passed inside the Bessemer converter, and it is oxidized into ferrous oxide and sulfur dioxide gas. This ferrous oxide combines with the silica which is added inside the Bessemer converter, and it will form ferrous silicate slag, which is lighter and it can be removed. Next step is cuprous sulfide, which is present in the copper matte. Cuprous sulfide, which is present in the copper matte, is firstly partially oxidized. Listen here carefully. Cuprous sulfide is only partially oxidized into cuprous oxide. Next, that cuprous oxide formed reacts with the remaining cuprous sulfide. Only little amount of the cuprous sulfide is initially oxidized into cuprous oxide. In the next step, the cuprous sulfide and cuprous oxide react among themselves, which is also called as self-reduction. It will undergo reduction and it will form molten copper. So the reactions is 2Cu2S, that is cuprous sulfide, plus 3O2 gives 2Cu2O plus 2SO2. This is the first reaction. In the next step, Cu2S plus 2Cu2O gives 6Cu plus SO2. So in the first step, it is not the complete oxidation, it is only a partial oxidation. Little amount of cuprous sulfide is oxidized into cuprous oxide. In the second step, which is also called as self-reduction step, the cuprous sulfide combines with the cuprous oxide formed here and it will reduce into copper as well as sulfur dioxide gases also released. This molten copper is poured into another container and it is allowed to cool. Okay, molten copper formed here is allowed to cool in another container. During cooling, the sulfur dioxide, which is dissolved inside the molten copper, will escape out, causing some blisters on the surface of copper. Okay, so during cooling process, the sulfur dioxide gas which is dissolved in the molten copper will escape, causing some blisters or bubbles on the surface of the copper, and hence the copper obtained in this step is known as blister copper, which is about 98% pure copper. So in the exam, they may ask what is blister copper or why it is named so. So blister copper is nothing but the copper which is obtained after the besimerization process, which consists of dissolved sulfur dioxide gas. This dissolved sulfur dioxide gas, when it escapes out of the container, causes some blisters on the surface of copper. Hence, the copper is also known as blister copper. This is about 98% pure copper. Last step is its purification. It can be refined or purified by electrolytic refining process. The purification is done by electrolytic refining process. We have already discussed about the electrolytic refining. Again, let us in brief see the diagram and the reaction taking place in the electrolytic refining. Here there is a tank known as electrolytic refining tank, and the anode taken is the impure copper rod. Impure copper rod is taken as the anode and thin sheet of pure metal is taken as the cathode. Thick impure copper rod is taken as the anode and thin sheet of pure metal is taken as the cathode. And upon passing electricity, from the anode the pure copper goes and it deposits on the cathode. Here is a reaction at anode. The oxidation reaction takes place and copper is converted into cuprous ions and 2 electrons are released. In the cathode, Cu2 plus ions combine with the electron and it is converted into copper, which is deposited on the cathode. And below the anode, some impurities known as anode mud are settled, which consists of some noble metals like gold, silver, platinum, etc. Hence, anode mud is an important concept in the electrolytic refining of copper. By recovery of this anode mud, the cost for the electrolytic refining can be got or obtained. Thus, the copper can be obtained in the form of blister copper in the Bessemer converter, and later it is obtained in the pure form by electrolytic refining process. Students, till now we have discussed about the extraction of copper from copper pyrites. Next, let us discuss about the extraction of copper from low grade ores and scraps. Extraction of copper from low grade ores and scraps. So copper is extracted by a process known as hydrometallurgy from low grade ores as well as scraps. What is hydrometallurgy? In a hydrometallurgical process, the concentrated ore is reduced into metal by dissolving it in a suitable solvent. Initially, ore is dissolved in a suitable solvent, then it is reduced into metal by using a suitable reducing agent. Here, the low grade copper is initially leached with some acid like sulfuric acid, or sometimes some bacteria are also used for the leaching process. So here the leaching agent used is either bacteria or sometimes the dilute acid like sulfuric acid is used. Then the metal from the ore goes into the solution as Cu2 plus ions, cupric ions, and leaving behind the impurities. Only the pure metal goes into the solution in the form of cupric ions, leaving behind the impurities. The metal ion in the solution is then reduced into metal by treating it with some more reactive metal like iron, or sometimes by passing hydrogen gas. So in the first step, the metal is leached with sulfuric acid or bacteria. That time the metal goes into the solution as cupric ions. In the second step, it is reduced into the metal by using reducing agent like iron, or sometimes hydrogen can be used as a reducing agent. Here is a reaction. Cu2 plus Fe gives copper and ferrous ions. This is a reduction reaction, redox reaction. Copper undergoes reduction, iron undergoes oxidation. So Cu2 plus ion or cupric ion is reduced into copper, whereas iron undergoes oxidation to form ferrous ions. Sometimes it can be even done by using hydrogen gas, so that cupric ion react with hydrogen and cupric ion is reduced into copper, as well as hydrogen is reduced, oxidized into hydrogen ion. So this is the method to extract the copper from the low grade ores or from scraps. So in the in-text question, one in-text question given is, at a site low grade copper ores are available and zinc and iron scraps are also available. Which of the two scraps would be more suitable for reducing the leached copper ore, and why? This is the in-text question given in your NCERT textbook. The question is, at a site low grade copper ores are available and zinc and iron scraps are also available. Which of the two scraps would be more suitable for reducing the leached copper ore, and why? So here the ores is zinc and iron that can be used to reduce the copper ore. Now we have to choose among zinc and iron which is best suited ore for reducing the copper ore into copper. You know that zinc is more reactive metal than iron. Okay? Zinc is more reactive metal than iron and it can readily undergo oxidation when compared to the iron. So zinc is more reactive than iron and zinc can readily undergo oxidation to form zinc ion. That means it can act as a better reducing agent. But in industries, generally iron scraps are preferred over the zinc scraps. That is because zinc is more costlier metal than iron, and hence it is not advisable and advantageous to use it in the industrial scale. So answer is, generally iron scrap is preferred because it is cheaper than the zinc scrap. So next, let us discuss about the extraction of zinc from zinc blende. Extraction of zinc from zinc blende. Zinc blende is ZnS. So first step here is the ore concentration. Again, it is a sulfide ore, hence it is concentrated by froth flotation process itself. So since zinc sulfide or zinc blende is a sulfide form of ore, generally the sulfide ores are concentrated by the process called as froth flotation process. Next step is conversion it into oxide form. Again here roasting process is preferred because the ore is a sulfide form of ore, and when the ore is roasted in the presence of excess of air below the melting point of zinc, it is oxidized into zinc oxide. The zinc sulfide is oxidized into zinc oxide and it releases the sulfur dioxide gas. So this is a reaction. 2ZnS plus 3O2 gives 2ZnO plus 2SO2. So this is the reaction taking place in roasting process. After roasting, the next step is conversion of the roasted metal into its roasted form of metal into its metallic form, that is known as reduction of the metal oxide into metal. Here the roasted ore is mixed with coke, which acts as the reducing agent, and then it is taken in a container known as vertical retort, which is used as a furnace here, and then it is heated to a high temperature of 1673 Kelvin. That time zinc oxide is reduced by coke to form zinc. So this is the reaction. ZnO plus C upon heating to 1673 Kelvin gives zinc and carbon monoxide. For this purpose, the roasted ore is initially mixed with coke. Already we have discussed that coke acts as the better reducing agent over the carbon monoxide. Okay, we have seen this Ellingham diagram, and here we can see that after the temperature of about 1270 Kelvin, the plot for zinc to zinc oxide is at higher positions than the plot for carbon to carbon dioxide. So above 1270 Kelvin, coke can act as a reducing agent, and it is a better reducing agent than the carbon monoxide. So coke is used as a reducing agent, and for the industrial purpose generally still higher temperature of about 1673 Kelvin is maintained, and it is heated in a furnace known as vertical retort. Here from the top there is a charging door through which the mixture of roasted ore and coke is added, and when it is heated to high temperature condition, initially zinc vapors are obtained, which is passed over the condenser and molten zinc is obtained, and that molten zinc is known as zinc spelter. Here the molten zinc is obtained, which is known as zinc spelter, and this zinc spelter is about 98% pure. It can be further purified by the process known as fractional distillation process as well as the electrolytic refining process. The zinc spelter, which is obtained in the molten state, is 98% pure, which can be further purified by fractional distillation process as well as the electrolytic refining process. Sometimes the question may be asked, why the temperature for the reduction of zinc oxide is higher than that of for reduction of cuprous oxide into copper? For that, again we can use the Ellingham diagram, and we can see that as the plot for copper to cuprous oxide is higher than the plot for zinc to zinc oxide formation. Since it is in the higher position, it is having higher delta G naught value, and that is why it is very easy to reduce cuprous oxide, and it requires comparatively lower temperatures of about 500 to 600 Kelvin. Whereas for the reduction of zinc oxide, we need to heat it to high temperature of about 1673 Kelvin in the industrial scale. Next, let us see some of the multiple choice questions which may be asked in your competitive exams. The first question is, in the extraction of copper from sulfide ore, the metal is formed by the reduction of cuprous oxide with, and the choices given are ferrous sulfide, carbon monoxide, cuprous sulfide and sulfur dioxide. So question is, in the extraction of copper from the sulfide ore, the metal formed by the reduction of cuprous oxide with. Already we discussed that it undergoes self-reduction by the reaction between cuprous oxide and cuprous sulfide. So correct option is option C, that answer is cuprous sulfide. So next question is, in electro refining of copper, some gold is produced as, choices given are cathode mud, anode mud, cathode deposit, anode deposit. Again we discussed that at below the anode there is some impurities are settled which are known as anode mud. So anode mud consists of the noble metals like gold, silver as well as platinum. So correct option is option B, anode mud. Students, next question is, the extraction of zinc from zinc blende is achieved by, the options are option A, electrolytic reduction, option B, roasting followed by reduction with carbon, option C, roasting followed by reduction with another metal, and option D is roasting followed by self-reduction. So the question is, for the extraction of zinc blende from zinc blende, that is ZNS. So it can be extracted by, first step is roasting, which is given in the 3 options. Next step is, after roasting it is heated with coke, that is nothing but a form of carbon, and this process is also called as smelting process. Sometimes it can be even asked as smelting process. So correct option is option B, roasting followed by reduction with carbon or coke. That is the correct answer. Next question, the purest form of iron is, the choices given are, first one is cast iron, second one is pig iron, third one is wrought iron, and the last option is steel. So we have discussed that the purest form of commercially available iron is wrought iron, or it is also known as malleable iron. So correct option is option C, wrought iron. Dear students, in today's class we have discussed 2 main concepts. First one is the extraction of copper, and the second one is extraction of zinc from zinc blende. We also discussed some of the questions for the competitive exams. Thank you.